What's going on, family? Kevin and Jesse here with you guys today with the Elite State of Mind podcast. As always, our goal is to listen, learn, and grow. Jesse, how you doing today, man?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I am doing well. I am doing amazing. Family, make sure you guys go ahead and like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram page. Also, you can find us on Applepodcast, Spotify. Go ahead and give us a follow on those as well. What we're going to get into today, family, something that a lot of people have been, I think, talking about more so nowadays.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss soul ties. So, Jesse, what are, in your research of soul ties, what are those things?
Man, I got a few different definitions just looking at it, but I think the most simple way to put it is a soul tie is a knitting together of two souls.
Knitting together, as I think that I picture, weaving these things together, them becoming intertwined within each other. And one thing, we'll probably touch on this again a little bit later, is you got to watch who you weave your soul with. Because if you get to weaving that thing with some people, well, maybe they have some faulty thread.
Yeah.
Maybe the quality of their thread or their stitch isn't up to your quality.
Right.
And now what you guys have weaved together isn't what it should be.
Right.
What is when you think of that knitting together? What is that for you?
Well, just there are 4 different types.
Okay.
Right? Just from research, and so the 4 types are going to be just from marriage, from friendship, from sex. And so those are the 3. We won't get to the 4th one yet, but those are the 3 that are most common.
Marriage, friendship, and sex.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the friendship. I mean, because most of the time when I believe when people talk about soul ties, they're either talking about being married or the sexual side of it.
Yes.
You lay with somebody, now they feel that you guys have developed this this soul tie. To develop a soul tie in friendship, that to me would seem that it would take a period of time, that it would take some, maybe some major moments, some things that you guys have, went through, that bonded you guys together, that, maybe some other friends didn't stick around to help see you through in your journey, and that developed that soul tie. Is that what it's talking about, maybe?
I believe so. I think there's always going to be an event that's going to cause a little bit more depth to a friendship. And I don't think it has much to do with how much time has been, with the friendship, but more so that could be one way, but also just dealing with the events that take place that will actually cause your cord to be intertwined and intermingled.
Okay. Can you recall an event where, you were like, you had this, XYZ happen, and this friend, stuck there, was closer than a brother for you?
A few instances, but I think with me and my best male friend, it was just, something that happened to his family.
Okay.
And I knew, but I didn't know to what depth, the friendship was actually there to actually strengthen it. It actually became, like you said, intertwined, that the friendship moved to a brotherhood. When, a relative, family member of his was in the hospital, and I just made myself present and available. And from that aspect, he just knew, like from his own words, he was like, "Yeah, this is my brother. This moved from my friend to my brother, because in my time of despair, you made yourself available." And he even told me at that time, "I don't think you knew exactly what you were doing besides being there."
By being present, putting as you said in the friendship episode, putting yourself in the midst of what he had going on, and when you, like you said, in that transition from friendship to brotherhood, one definition I found, it says it is a soul tie. Sometimes is referred to in an emotional or spiritual cording, is an inexplicable, powerful emotion or bond to another person.
Yes.
So when you say we moved from this, basic level of friends, homies. We get together, we play Madden,
Right.
Maybe we go play basketball together. Or we, back in those days, hop in the old Nissan,
Right? Oh no.
and go do some foolishness in the old great Nissan.
Oh jeez.
But now I have went to a deeper place with you. A place where you weren't, at your best, and like we've said, I've climbed down, in a pit.
Yeah.
That I, like you, just explained. I don't know the depths of, what that pit was, but I'm just here with you, and a lot of times there's not a lot of room for a lot of people.
Nope.
In the dark crevices of the bad times in our life.
It's not.
If these are the things that are, what bonds or creates these, soul ties for us, and then we look around and in the most inexplicable of ways, as the definition says, there's that one person who maybe we didn't expect
Right.
to be there.
Right.
Maybe they shocked us. Maybe they surprised us by being, in the midst of what we have going on. Mm-hmm. When that happened, was it just kind of a natural reaction for you to just, oh, my boy's in trouble, let me?
Yeah. It definitely was. It wasn't a thing of do I need to ask permission to be there? It was something, it was something internally. I'm living in my parents' home, but it was just something that was so strong. Just like, listen, this is what's going on. This is what I'm going to do.
Right. And it wasn't like you said, I'm not asking.
Yeah, no. We're not
I'm
asking
gone.
because, and to the credit, they didn't have an issue with it because it was an important time. Mm-hmm. And so often some people will be like, I don't care what's going on. You're not doing whatever. You didn't ask me. You don't tell me what to do.
Right.
All of that. But
all that foolishness.
Right. It was the thing where like, oh man, this has to be, it has to be a meaningful moment because it's something that he's never done before. Mm-hmm. He hasn't come in and said, yeah, this is what's going on. No. First time, probably the only time. While I was living in that house, this happened that I did that, right? So it had to be an extremely impactful, time. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can soul ties be a bad thing? The reason I asked that, and again in the research, it was something that it said soul ties can let a person influence or manipulate you, even if they're unaware if they're doing so.
Right.
So in this bonding of souls and this, as you said, this knitting together. Does that mean that we have now allowed it to become easier for somebody to know how to string us along?
Yes. Yeah. They definitely have a stronger influence because of that particular tie. And kind of like I said, they don't oftentimes know if they're actually doing that. Mm-hmm. But that's the case.
Right.
Okay. But I think as they grow in their emotional intelligence, they are fully aware that they have a power to pull upon you, and they'll do so, right? Because they understand the importance of the cord that you have. It may not be as important to them, but it's important to you. And if they know it's important to you, they know that, hey, I can kind of pull this string as if I'm trying to be a puppet master and use that to my advantage.
Family, don't let nobody be no puppet master.
Yeah.
Cut them cords right now. Because everybody pulling the strings doesn't have the best of intentions for you.
Right.
And they want to lead you down some bad paths. They want to put you into some bad shows.
Right.
Don't do that. In moving from the friendship aspect of soul ties, and now we'll deal with probably the one that I think most people think about most.
Right.
The sexual experience. Mm-hmm. How does that create these soul ties?
Well, it's one of the strongest ways that you can connect to an individual. Right? It's one of the most powerful ways. Reason being that you're going to open yourself up on a multitude of levels to be able to connect to them. If indeed the sex is going to be any good. That's just keep it $1.
Facts.
Okay, you're going to open yourself up, okay, to them on your emotional side, on your mental side, and the bond that most people are familiar with is on the spiritual aspect of it. And I think the recipe for all three of these things together is one that actually makes that quote unquote soul tie.
Okay, so on the multitude of levels, like you said, the mental, the mental, spiritual, the physical. Why is it, sometimes somebody might have a soul tie to me, but I don't have one with them? Like they are, right. They have now, because of this sexual encounter, they are super close to me. They become, attached to me, attentive to, my needs in some aspects. Right. They become, they develop a care and concern for me. But all I was doing was getting a physical need met. Right. I wasn't creating the same type of bond that they were, and now I'm viewed as the bad guy.
Right. Well, I think it happens because of the 4 areas that should be open in that particular realm. One of them is taken away. Okay, and so you could deal with somebody, and initially all 4 of them are open. Okay, but because of something that has transpired, either in the past or present, or what they could perceive happened in the future, they might take one of those things away. And anytime that happens, that's going to actually change, the chemistry that's going to take place there in this particular sexual soul tie.
Let me pose this for a moment, family. In the creation of the soul ties, if you are of the household of faith, we understand that in this sexual relationship, it's supposed to be done, with the person whom you are married to. Now it's given also so that you guys can stay close, that when something happens that brings about some separation, so we know that something that's tied can become loose. Right. But if sex is one of these things that creates this soul tie in the confines of your marriage, if you get away from each other physically, and it begins to become loose, come back to each other and see if it doesn't tighten up. Right.
The old saying that a 3-cord strand is not easily broken. It's because of that, right? Especially we're talking about, the marriage relationship. It's difficult because the two will become one, right? Being there. And the whole idea is that, as these two are becoming one, that we're also becoming one with our Creator. 3-cord strand. It's hard for anything to come in between and separate you at that particular time. I don't know if anybody's ever tried it, but you go ahead and you braid one, right? And then you try to cut it and see what happens. See what happens to the scissors.
Scissors aren't going to do it.
They're not going to get it done.
You need a stronger knife. Right. Sharper blade.
And we don't even know if that can actually get it done. Right? You might get to the first one. You may get halfway through the second one. But it makes it extremely difficult to get all the way through. Very true. I think in terms of inside of their marriage relationship, people forget that. They forget, like you said, that's the thing that's going to keep you close. Like you're instructed not to stay away from each other for too long, unless you agree, right, for fasting and prayer. And other than that, as married individuals, you need to be getting it in as much as possible. Why? Because you're constantly being attacked.
It's at least the devil tempt you,
right? And so people often, they feel like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Johnny did this. I can't believe Susie did me this way. Well, here is the simplicity of the matter. You should have been chasing after Johnny or Susie to make sure that you're staying connected to them. Oh, right? That's part of your duty. You said I do. Well, you need to be doing what you said you're going to do.
And some of us out here tying souls like we tying shoes and we taking them off at the end of the night.
Pretty much.
But that's not what that's supposed to be used for. Right. Like you said, you need to chase after this individual and keep that thing tight. And you have to do some things that are going to, ensure that this person understands that you want them around. That's right. That you want to keep that level of connection. Right. Because then, as we said, if it comes untied, now you can be up here sitting up sad, right? Crying because whether it's in a friendship, whether it's in your marriage, this thing has dissolved and went away, right? And maybe that's not what you wanted, but you didn't give it the care and attention that was necessary. That's right. To keep it together. That's not I'm not here to assess blame.
No, not at all. Because if we're talking about definitely in the confines of a marriage relationship, then both parties, right, are responsible. Now, is it going to be an even distribution? Probably not. Maybe not. But it's going to be an equal responsibility,
Right.
to either to get it back on track or not.
What are some of the signs that I may have developed a soul tie to an individual?
Okay, through our research, there came through that there are just a few signs, and we'll go with a few of them. One of them is that you feel a deep level of connection.
Okay.
The next is that there's always a strong reaction from a particular individual.
Oh, my soul actually gets happy.
There's going to be a strong reaction.
Okay.
There's a familiar feeling. Is there? People say all the time, I feel like I've known them my whole life.
Uh-oh.
The feeling of that this person, individual, that they complete you. That the relationship feels unique. That the timing that they've been around is just supremely significant. And that if this person is not in your life, then you feel like something is missing.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff, man.
Man, feel like something is missing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, nowadays, we're all on the journey of self-love, right? And it's a great thing.
Should be.
But as we understand, no man or woman is an island unto themselves.
Right.
And you hear or you see so often, oh, nobody completes you, nobody should complete you, nobody should XYZ. And I'm not totally on board with that.
Okay.
For the reason of there is something that somebody is going to bring to you that can make your day better, that can make this journey of life a better experience.
Right.
Not that you can't go out and have a great time by yourself, but whatever your favorite activity is it not always made better? Because sometimes just a person is there to share.
Right.
But then when it's the person, when it's that person who you have this deeper connection to,
there's a difference.
Man, the simplest of activities, the walk through the park, the going to the store.
Yeah.
These things now they carry more weight.
Yeah, they're weighty.
They are much more meaningful when you share in this experience with that person.
Agreed.
And that's where I differ from, I believe some people in the, nobody completes you. I understand I've been Kevin for 33 years.
Right.
But when that person that brings that extra to me, man, that means a little bit more.
I feel like as an individual, you're whole, but your experiences become complete with, like you said, the individual that can bring and is going to add something to what you already like to do, and vice versa. Whatever they like to do. Oh man, we're whole as an individual. Man, you've made this thing complete. Going to the movies, you completed my experience.
Right,
it's so much better now that you're here. So you feel like if they're not here, something is missing.
And that's it's a crazy thing because we think of so many things that are just common to us in life. If I bake a cake, you expect me to put icing on the cake.
Yes.
And sometimes you may cuss me out if ain't no icing on the cake.
Yeah, probably so.
Because you're like, what is this?
Who eats dry cake?
Who wants to dry cake?
Right.
If I say, hey man, I go up to I'm gonna order a cheeseburger, and you bring it back without cheese.
What are we doing here?
Somebody's finna come back. It might not be me, but somebody's coming back to the counter to let you know I ordered the cheeseburger with cheese.
That's right.
Because something was missing.
Yeah.
So, family, whoever it is that puts icing on your cake.
Watch it.
Whoever it is that puts cheese
on
your burger. Hey! You may want to make sure you treat them right.
Right.
You may want to make sure that you understand that when they're not around, man, something's not hitting at 100. And you need to do the things that are necessary to get the icing on your cake.
Yeah.
How do we ensure that if we realize that something is missing, that we can get that back?
Man, I feel like it's just being able to recognize that, like I said here, the relationship in and of itself feels unique. And so I have to be able to be just, emotionally and mentally aware that there is something that this individual brings to the relationship that I just got to have.
There's a reason they're a first round pick.
There's a reason why. There's a reason why they're number one. Okay? There's a reason for that. But I think that stems from your own personal awareness. Because what's number one for me might not be number one for someone else. And that may also change as your awareness grows, as you mature, as you begin to continue to develop yourself on an emotional and spiritual and mental level. So if this individual can do those things for you, you need to do your best to maintain that relationship.
Right. And like you said, that uniqueness and that when it says, they elicit a strong reaction from you. Family, I think what you got to realize, that strong reaction is going to be something that starts out on, one, it may start it on, a physical level of just what you see. A smile may just come over you when this person comes around, but then I believe it moves, to a subconscious, and then that begins to take root, and that seed, that tie begins to get stronger as then, that's the person who you roll over to see if they text you in the morning. That's the person you think about.
Okay.
To see, did you make it home at night? That's the person you're bringing soup to.
Oh, man.
If they're sick.
When they're not well.
Man, that's the person, whose feet you rub, not because you have, a lusty intention.
Right.
But just because you want to rub their feet so that they feel better. So maybe they can get a better night's sleep. That strong reaction is going to come about, in some ways, like you said, that you probably haven't experienced before.
That's right.
Because, we've all been young men, and like you said, we have ill intentions.
Right.
And the things that I'm doing are only to gain access to something I don't need to be gaining access to.
I have no business.
Hey.
Yeah.
And so then we do that, and I'm out here tying souls.
Yeah. I got a whole pretzel.
Well, if it had not been for the Lord on my side. Praise Jesus.
Right.
But so then as you grow and you get older and you become, a little bit more mature, and you're not just out here spreading that love, or as you said, what you deem to be love.
What you deem to be love.
To everybody. And you understand that these reactions, come from a deeper place, from more than just, a physical stature, that there's something on the inside of you that responds, as our favorite book says, when these two were in the womb, one kicked when the other came around.
Right.
So now you understand that it's something that is a deeper connection on maybe a quantum level.
For sure.
That
it's the energy
you have not, ever experienced before.
Can you touch on the quantum for us a little bit?
That quantum connection, it is something to me. Again, I'm not a professor of physics, but it is a thing that when you begin to deal in different periods of time and different stages of life, when you can remove yourself, family, go with me just for a moment, when you remove yourself from being bound to the physical constraints of time that our finite body is bound to, because your spirit and your soul, they can run on some places.
Right.
They can run on some places that your body in and of itself, because it has to follow the laws of time, cannot go. But your spirit and your soul can go forward, backward, to the side, up, down, parallel, diagonal. They'll be like a queen on a chessboard.
Right.
And that quantum connection, it's normally going to cause some velocity and acceleration.
Okay.
In where your soul takes off to when you experience it with this individual. And so I believe then from the time you experience that, your soul runs on to a point in time waiting for everything else to catch up to.
Okay.
And then through all of the things that you and this individual are going to experience, from the great times to the lowest of low. But because your soul is at another point, because your spirit is in another place, you are going to, in a sense, be anchored in that point of time, knowing this is where we can get.
Right. That's the end point.
This is where we can and should get.
Yeah.
If things follow the path that they should be on.
Okay.
And if you believe in this quantum connection, you're going to do some things to try to make that happen, to keep that tie as strong as it is. Now, if you don't, hey, I understand.
Yeah.
But it can be a thing that can help keep, relationships, grounded, like you said, that point of beginning. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not a point of beginning because that's not where you guys began, but it is a point that you both are reaching towards. And if you can stay in it for a while with this connection to this person, the dominoes begin to fall. The things begin to fall in place, and then you go, okay, we're back on the right track. Right. Or we're still on
course.
Still on the course of that.
Yeah.
And that's, and I think, the signs that break down, the signs of that soul tie, they allow you to see where it is can we go. Okay. Can we get in the boat and go to the other side?
Question of the day.
You gotta going to the other side, family, it's a tough thing. But you can get there. You can definitely make it.
For sure.
What is it, again, if we go back to the one-sided soul tie?
Okay.
How do we, let me pose it like this. So we've talked about the dangers so many times.
Yes.
What are there dangers to the one-sided soul tie, or maybe is there a benefit, to both?
I mean, I think it depends on how you look at it. It can be a danger, and also it can be a benefit. It depends on what side of that particular coin you're sitting. Mm-hmm. I feel like, the danger is the inability of an individual to let go when it's time to actually let go. Okay. The benefit of that is being able to see, to gain some wisdom from the interaction that is taking place between you and one who doesn't feel as strong about your interaction as you may.
And that's, you said the inability to let go because you have developed, this one-sided tie, and you've tied yourself to this individual. Yeah. And now it's like being drugged behind a car. Right. And yeah, you get some relief when the car stops, but you're still been beat up for 2-3 miles. Right. And then when it takes off again, you're just getting smacked against the concrete. Right. Or smacked against the dirt road, causing yourself more injury and more turmoil, as time progresses. Right. And, it takes something, bad for you, normally, for you to just go, man, I got to get out of this. I've got to get away. I've got to go find something new. I got to go get some relief.
That or just time.
I think that's dangerous, though. If you allow time to be the thing that gets that away, there's going to be some damage. Yeah. And that's the danger, because now you're going to have to heal, mentally and physically from the physical scars. If I stick with the analogy of getting drugged behind the car, and then just the mental, you might not ever want to get in the car again. Right. You might hate traffic. Yeah. Every time you hear an engine start, yeah, not again.
You got some traffic PTSD.
And now, instead of when I need to reach a destination, I'm gonna walk everywhere. I'm gonna be on a bicycle, and I can still get there. But what is gonna take me, 2-3 hours or a few days, because I'm walking or riding this bike, I could have done in 15-20 minutes or a few hours. And that, to me, is why allowing time to cause that separation, because it will. Time is the greatest surgical scalpel God ever gave man, because it's undefeated. And if you allow it to be the thing that breaks, maybe a bad bond or a soul tie that, shouldn't have lasted. Wasn't a lifelong. It wasn't a lifetime.
It was a reason season.
It was a reason a season.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do some tough healing. Yes. And you're probably gonna have a pretense to allowing people to love on you.
Oh, for sure.
As we talked about in the last episode, and that's gonna be the tough part, is when then you find somebody that, just a friend who wants to be your friend and love you through, wherever it is you're at, whatever it is you got going on. Yeah. You're probably going to push them away.
Probably so.
Because you got, like you said, you got that PTSD from getting beat up, getting drugged behind the back of that Corsica.
Oh, no, not the Corsica.
Man, we had one of them things.
Yeah, man, we did too.
And it just finally went on out. R.I.P. Chevy Corsica. Not finding new roads anymore.
Oh, no.
It went down. in dealing with the marriage or the relationship, just the relationship aspect of it, with soul ties, do we lie to ourselves about people we perceive to be tied to?
Sometimes.
Will I construct this false reality?
Yes, sometimes we'll create a false narrative of a particular soul tie that's actually ran its course. Mm-hmm. But we're actually afraid to, get on a different path because the particular soul tie is familiar. It's safe. It's comfortable. So we, again, create this false narrative that's going to keep us in what we think is a peaceful state.
A peaceful state. Mm-hmm. If it's not peace, again, I'm going to give him a Lugo.
Okay. Yeah.
If it's not peace, what is it?
It's discord. We just won't be honest with ourselves and actually recognize the fact that, it is causing a discord, which in turn is going to cause an internal dis-ease to our mental, emotional, and spiritual states.
A dis-ease and disease.
Right.
To all, like you said, all of those things, because that when, the anxiety and the depression and these things, they set in, whether I have tied myself to a job that I should have been done left.
That's the fourth type, business, right? Mm-hmm. The fourth type of soul tie is business, and like you said, it's to the job. Too many people are tied to the job, to a job that is just literally making them sick. Man. On all levels. It's making them sick.
Man. Mm-hmm. That's a tough part, man, because obviously everybody, you got to work. You got to eat. For sure. You got to take care of your family. You got things you want to do. But, one thing that I definitely agree with, now you'll see it on social media so often is, man, you got them PTO hours, take them. Yeah. You got some sick days, yes, take them, because you can drop dead tonight. And you know what?
Your job is putting the ad the next day.
They already got one in there. You know what I'm saying? They're already on Indeed.
They're waiting. If we drop below this many people, for whatever reason, retirement, death, injury, hey, put this ad up. Like you said, you drop dead, guess what? Oh, man, it sure was a nice fella. Oh, okay, well, you running the ad? Okay, go ahead and get to it.
And they've moved on from you. Maybe they send some condolences to your family in a little card and a $5 bouquet of flowers. Johnny was a great employee, although he was late 3 days a week. But we sure are sad he's gone.
Right.
And you're thinking that this thing is going to, crumble without you.
It's not.
It's going to keep going.
It's not.
It's going to keep doing what it does, whether you're there or not. And so, family, let me say this again. If you have dreams that you want to go achieve them. Right. Again, I'm not saying that you need to walk in there and cuss out your supervisor tonight and get fired.
Please don't do that.
But what I am saying is evaluate that thing. And if you are continually showing up consistently to, make somebody else millions and continue their dream that started with somebody having an idea, whether you want to talk about it's Walmart, Brahms ice cream, somebody had an idea, and all the employees are now furthering that person's idea. Nothing wrong with that. We need to work. But if you have an idea, if you have something, a business you want to start, man, go do that thing.
Yes.
Because to tie yourself to a 9-to-5 that will move on without you, and that's going to make your impact upon this world very minimal.
Right.
I mean, sure, there are going to be some people that remember you were the best supervisor Walmart had in the Southwest region.
Right.
But that's as far as it goes. Or do you want to go down as one of the greatest humans to ever walk the face of the earth because of the lives that you were able to touch and impact?
Right.
And maybe you find a way to do that at Walmart.
Maybe.
I'm not saying you can't.
Maybe.
But you're given gifts, talents for, a reason and purpose. And tie yourself to those.
Take a look at it. Reevaluate it.
Amen. Those are the things you ought to tie yourself to. Maybe entrepreneurship isn't for you, but you got gifts and talents that you can share. We've been told, hey, I'm not an idea guy.
Right.
But I know the steps.
Right.
I know how to get you through the steps.
Yeah. Get them
right?
done.
So maybe you're not an idea guy, but you're great at getting somebody through the steps. Mm-hmm. So that's just take a look at that, family, and don't be don't be afraid. Quit being bound to certain things by fear.
Right.
Right. These soul ties, I don't think we've said the entire time that they're defined as good or bad.
Right.
That's going to be based upon the choices
right. That's
that you make.
Yeah, that's for you to determine.
Mm-hmm. Do they run their course?
Yeah.
Are they lifetime things? Mm-hmm. Are they season things?
Right.
And then you got to put them back in their place, and sometimes you got to untie yourself.
Right.
Untie yourself from stuff that's not for you anymore.
Okay, so you say that as we bring this thing to a close. So the question I pose is, how do we break these soul ties?
In my opinion, if you are truly going to break a soul tie to an individual, you got to cut that thing off.
Okay.
For a time. And I'm never saying you can never, see or speak to this individual again. Mm-hmm. But if you're really going to, if you're like, man, this is a bad, whatever. It's a bad friendship. It's a bad relationship. It's a bad, whatever the case may be, a bad business partnership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you need to cut that thing off. Because once I untie the cords and separate them, they don't touch, they don't meet. There's no more interaction that can be a lingering effect.
Okay.
Because if it lingers, as Aunt Kalala say, you can do the rekindle.
You do rekindle.
You can do the rekindle.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because through research, man, we got a few steps here that bring it to it. And I think you hit on all of them. Okay. So number one is the ability to identification. Is just something that you need to actually break. Okay, no longer be a part of.
Don't take the food out of the oven and eat it right there when it's hot.
That's right.
Let it cool off.
That's right. Let it cool off. So number two is for us to intentionally disconnect. You said that with purpose, on purpose. Hey, if you need to write it down, write it out. This thing is going to be. We're going to unplug it.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to unplug.
Cut off the power.
Yep. Third, to remove material things and photos. It's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Nothing that is there that can actually be there to linger, right? Because anytime you see a photo, then there's going to be a memory. There's going to be an emotional tie. It's going to be there to the particular photo. Or let's say it's the old boo's big sweater.
Uh-oh.
Okay? Something of that nature, right?
Don't keep them sweaters.
Right? You watch. Be careful with them sweaters.
Your sweater, you'll sweat her.
Oh, my. Be careful. Be careful.
Hey.
Okay, and lastly is the two-part thing is forgive them and release them.
Yeah, I mean, you got to, if it's something that happened that caused some pain, that caused some, whatever the thing may be. Because normally, if I don't forgive you, I want to get back. I want to get back at you.
Typically,
and again, I have ill contentions. I want to do things by nefarious means.
Right.
So I have to come to a place of peace. And the toughest part is, if we can't have the conversation with this individual, because maybe they hold a certain power over us, that if I have a conversation, I'm right back into what we were doing.
Right.
Or the opportunity just never presents itself.
Yeah.
For us to have this conversation and me to get off my chest what was done. Yeah. Then, for me, I got to take that to the Lord, give him my thoughts, let him keep that and move on with life. So then I can release, the pain and whatever that was there, because if you've been married and been divorced, there is a forgive and releasing, and so often there are things, you don't get to have those conversations. Yeah. Because there are a lot of things there that are, tumultuous, whatever the case may be. There are, cooler heads probably won't always prevail when you and this individual sit down and talk. So you're going to have to do some forgiving of this person making you feel like you weren't a good husband or wife. Yeah. Do some forgiving of this person, mistreating, your love. Right. Do some forgiving of yourself for maybe you didn't take care of this person the way you were supposed to.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things where people, oftentimes feel like closure is due you. No. And it's not. This is what we need people to understand. It is not. But what is in your power to do is to forgive and to, release and close the chapter on that particular thing, because it's for your betterment that you do so. Even if there was nothing negative that transpired throughout your particular soul tie or, sexuation or marriage, whatever it is.
Or them sexuations.
Right? Whatever it might be, even if it's nothing negative, it's still, the thing has ran its course. So, forgive yourself. Forgive them. Let it go. Close that book.
Pick up a new one.
Right?
Get your new book.
Yeah.
There's new information out there, family. Don't be afraid to go read a new book.
Definitely.
And like like we said before we go, I'll touch on this. Like you said, we create that false narrative because there is something we want out of life. Because there is something that we desire. Whether it is to be married, whether it is to be a $1 trillion mogul.
Right.
And I'm gonna look around, and because I haven't had the patience to maybe let the person who is for me come into my life or fully develop, the relationship that is there. The next thing I know, I'm married to somebody I shouldn't be.
Right.
The next thing I know, I've latched myself to a business, that I shouldn't have latched myself to.
Yep.
And this is, these instances, family. Again, I'm not telling y'all to go out and get divorced because somebody didn't wash the dishes. I'm not telling you to go out and quit your job because you didn't get a raise when you've been late. Every Monday for the last month.
Right.
But what I am saying is, if you look at this thing and you evaluate, based upon whatever principles you have in place, and it's not a real soul tie, or it's not one that's beneficial. Reciprocity isn't taking place in that.
Right.
Then you need to take some steps and you need to break it, and then begin to go through the process of dealing with that thing and getting on out of there.
Yep.
Well, family, we sure do appreciate you guys for tuning in with us today. And we know today would not have been what it was had you guys not taken out time in your day to be with us. Make sure, again, you like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram page. Again, our goal is to always listen, learn, and grow. Go ahead and hop in the comments, family, and tell us what you thought about today. We'll talk to y'all later.